Hello and welcome to Two Tiers Deep, the Women's Cricket Weekly Show, with me, Rosa Simpkin.
And me, Chloe Hill.
I'm the journalist, working in all the tiers of women's cricket.
And I'm the cricketer, currently playing in the game.
We saw a gap in the market, mainly from a Tier 2 coverage perspective, so we thought, why not start a podcast? To start with, we probably should explain something to you, which, otherwise, none of this will make any sense. Last year, the ECB announced Project Darwin, a project to hand the game back to the 18 counties, split into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the professional level, consisting of the Blaze, Durham, Essex, Lancashire, Hampshire, Somerset, Surrey and Warwickshire. I could go into the depths about why the Blaze aren't knots, but we'll leave that for another time.
And Tier 2 counties are made up of Derbyshire, Glamorgan, Gloucestershire, Kent, Leicestershire, Middlesex, Northamptonshire, Sussex, Worcestershire and Yorkshire.
And then Tier 3 are the national counties. Before we get started on today's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to our leading partner, Her Game 2. Her Game 2 Cricket partnered the Rose Talks Ball podcast and all the branches of the show, including Two Tiers Deep. Her Game 2 aims to spread a message of hope and equality throughout sport. Initially only in football, they have recognised that discrimination towards women and girls in sport is not limited only to football, so they have expanded into other sports, including cricket, where they can support, encourage and inspire women in the game. If you'd like to find out more about the work they are doing, you can find them online through their website, hergame2.co.uk/cricket, or you can find them on social media by searching for Her Game 2 Cricket. Thank you as always to Her Game 2 for their support of the podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Two Tiers Deep podcast. And we're nearing the end of the season, and it is in fact the end of the season for my co-host, Chloe. Chloe, would you like to explain to the listeners why your season has come to an end?
Yes, so obviously Northants against Glamorgan in the semi-finals, we obviously missed out reaching the finals, so my Tier 2 season come to an end. But obviously I have connections with Buckinghamshire in Tier 3, and they still have a few rounds left. So I was going to play the last 2 games for them prior, if they get to their finals today. But unfortunately got a ball to the head on Sunday, which rules me out with concussion protocols for the game this weekend. And then I'm technically not around when their final match is, if they make the finals. So yeah, that's me. That's my season done. But yeah.
I feel like we need to debrief the concussion, because you were very unlucky in how it happened. For those who haven't seen it, Chloe was running from the non-striker's end, a single, and the ball came in from a fielder, presumably aiming at the stumps or at the wicketkeeper, and it got you on the back of the head, which is probably one of the most unfortunate ways. But it's done. Season is done. And I know it's been a bit of a mixed one for you. But I'd say it's ended on quite an unreasonably high note, with Northants making the semi-final.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the season started off with a high, captain in Worcestershire and playing Yorkshire for our first game of the season and getting that first win of the season against Yorkshire, where obviously we were going into that match as underdogs. And then obviously things happened throughout the season. Was no longer captain at Worcester, and then was no longer playing at Worcester, and finished the season at Northants on loan for the remainder of the season. And yeah, all in all, that move and that loan to Northants for me sort of resparked cricket again, and also felt like I was probably at my best with the gloves and had opportunities with the bat and took those opportunities as well. So yeah, all in all, mixed season, proper roller coaster, but finished on a high.
Well, I, for one, am very proud of you. I mean, it's no easy fate facing Glamorgan in a semi-final, especially when they bring about 3 Tier 1 players along with them.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be Glamorgan if they didn't have 3 Tier 1 players every week. I think that's something they've done every week. We've seen them sort of use the loan system from Tier 1 quite well. And understandably, obviously, Glamorgan are going to be moving up to Tier 1 and not this season. This season coming the following season. So I guess for them, they need to explore options from Tier 1, but also for them, they want to be at the top of the table and proving a point of why they are going up to Tier 1 in a few seasons' time.
It was good to see Warwickshire make Abby Freeborn and Bethan Ellis available for that game, though, because for those who don't know, Abby played pretty much the whole of the 100 for Glamorgan, and Bethan was playing quite regularly for them before the 100 when she was with Birmingham Phoenix. But I think Warwickshire had recognised that their season's dead. They fundamentally cannot qualify for the semis in Tier 1. So they've let those two go on loan to Tier 2, which I, for one, am quite pleased about.
Yeah, and I think obviously looking how Abby's gone for Glamorgan, she's obviously been successful with the bat, and I guess that sort of gives her the momentum of when she's back with Warwickshire. And I think if we look at her performances today on the 10th of September, for those who don't know what day we're talking about, but she's got runs contributed again, got 60 plus or 60 odd, but she's in form, and she's in form from playing those 50 over matches for Glamorgan. And then obviously Bethan Ellis sat on the bench throughout the 100. So I guess it's quite nice for her to go and play those couple of matches for Glamorgan, to be ready to go back to Warwickshire to open the batting and potentially bowl if needed. And it'd be interesting to see if both of them will be back for them for the final this coming weekend against Yorkshire.
Before we debrief those two semi-finals, I think we should have a little look back at last week's pod, where we were very lucky to be joined by Daggers, Charles Dagnall of Sky Sports, former cricketer. And we had a very interesting chat with him, and he had a lot to say.
Yeah, I mean, that man can talk, can't he? And don't get me wrong, he is a brilliant speaker for the women's game and a big advocate for the women's game, and one that actually understands the women's game. And I've said the women's game there a lot, because that needs to be highlighted, that we get so many commentators or so many broadcasters speak about the women's game who have no clue. And I don't want to genderlise and don't want to stereotype, but it's predominantly male commentators who haven't probably given that extra research into women's game, whereas they know the men's game inside out. But I think a big shout out to Daggers for his support and his knowledge on the women's game throughout the international, the tier system, the 100, everything.
100%. I think we were also on the same page with him on most of things, particularly he was very vocal about the availability of the Tier 1 players, the England players, and the fact that, quite frankly, they should be playing cricket. And a lot of them still weren't in the round afterwards. Charlie Dean popped up. Alice Capsey popped up again. Izzy Wong was allowed to play by Warwickshire again. Doesn't make sense that she wasn't in the first place, given she's literally not in the World Cup squad. But I'm not the ECB. But yeah, it was a really interesting chat, and hopefully we'll have him back on soon.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it'd be great to hear him and speak to him at the end of the season, or maybe at the start of the season next year, to sort of get the rundown of how the World Cup's gone for England, what's happened over the winter. But yeah, great chat all in all, and yeah, hopefully we get to speak to him again and keep supporting the women's game.
I think it's time to have a look at some Tier 2 cricket, and we're nearly at the end of the Tier 2 season. We've had the Metrobank One Day Cup League 2. It's still a tongue twister every time I say it. Semi-finals, and Glamorgan will face Yorkshire on Sunday the 14th. I was about to say of August, am I okay? On Sunday the 14th of September at New Road. It's a battle of the soon-to-be Tier 1 counties.
I mean, if this final doesn't prove the point of the ECB putting these two counties into the Tier 1, then I guess I don't know what. I mean, obviously we'd love the upset of Northants or Middlesex being in that finals, and obviously I would love to be in that final. But having, I guess, Glamorgan against Yorkshire, it's sort of that alpha move of which team is going to succeed in Tier 1 next year the most. And I guess if Glamorgan walk away as winners, they could probably say, well, we should be going up this season, not you. or if Yorkshire walk up and then win, then I guess we sort of know that the ECB have made that right decision. But they only just made the semi-finals. I think that needs to be remembered. They were so close to finishing in fifth place, and two other teams below. But they were all fighting for that last semi-final spot on that last round fixture of the season. But yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see what both teams go in, what the squads look like, who's available. I think we need to highlight that Stair Callis is obviously back with Warwickshire and playing there as well. So is she going to be available for Yorkshire in the final? And then I guess obviously the conversations around Lauren Winfield Hill and her decisions of where she's going to be on finals day, which I think we saw an article come out the other day of the reasons why she was available for Yorkshire in the semi-finals.
100%. I mean, I think we need to, at the end of the season, do the maths on how many games of cricket Stars actually played this summer, because it's probably ridiculous.
So let's take a look at the first Tier 2 semi-finals. So the first semi-finals was played on the 6th of September, and that was Glamorgan against Northants. And obviously I was a part of that. Northants won the toss and elected to bowl first, and Glamorgan were 209 all out. And I guess if I look at that from a player perspective, walking off that pitch, we were happy with chasing 209 runs, and in 50 overs, that should have been so doable. But I guess a shout out goes to Bethan Ellis for her 70 runs off 98 balls. She sort of dug in deep there and grafted her way to those runs for Glamorgan. And obviously being behind the stumps, and obviously knowing Bethan from playing with her at Central Sparks and previous teams, she was stressing throughout that innings about her strike rate, of just feeling like, oh, I need to score quicker. But her sort of steeliness of staying out there in the middle and helping her team get to that, I guess, winning total really for them. Yeah, she deserves credit for that. And obviously Amelia Kemp for Northants, bowling nearly her full allocation of 9.4 overs, 4 for 34. So going at an economy of 3.5 in a semi-final, when, I mean, personally, I know her, and I would say the spectators would know her more as an opening batter. So for her to go out there and do that with the ball, I think just shows what a fantastic season she's had as an all-round cricketer. And yeah, then I guess the sad side of the chase that Northants, we were 148 all out. And looking back at it, could we have done that chase a little bit differently? But I think credit's due where credit's due with the Glamorgan bowlers, that they did bowl well. And obviously we faced them the week before, and they do attack the stumps really well, and they do squeeze you in the field, and sort of it makes you feel like there's more than 11 players on the pitch with how their fielding unit is. So yeah, credit to them. And I think if we look at the player of the match from that game, it's got to be Nicole Reeve for, I want to say, her maiden fifer for Glamorgan, but she bowled 10 overs, 2 maidens, 5 for 36, and unfortunately I was one of them. But it's okay, we can laugh about it now. I think I was her first one, so I actually gifted it to her. So well done, Nicole Reeve. But let's move on to the second semi-final.
The second semi was Middlesex versus Yorkshire. And the old saying is you have to reach a loss eventually, and that did occur for Middlesex. After being unbeaten in the group stages, they fell short. Yorkshire won the toss and elected to bowl first, and that they did. They got Middlesex for 194 all out, and in return chased it in the 39th over with 195 for 4. Our player of the match for this game has to be Stair Callis. She got 65 not out in the chase. But I'd also like to give shout outs to a couple of 30s, Erin Thomas, Maddie Ward, and Amy Campbell. It was a reasonable team effort. And I guess the biggest talking point from this game, apart from the result, is that Lauren Winfield Hill dropped out of the WCPL, and we don't know the confirmed reasons for this, but I'm going to assume it's probably because Yorkshire was still in the Tier 2 competition.
Yeah, I think I was reading an article from the Yorkshire head coach. I think he sort of got questioned about it, why she was available. And I think she was always going to apparently be available for Yorkshire if they made the semi-finals. So apparently she signed her CPL contract. But I think the conversations were if Yorkshire were always going to make the semi-finals, then she would have dropped out of the CPL. That's how what I read and what I made of it. And I guess at one stage, realistically, Yorkshire weren't going to be making that semi-final spot. So I guess that's sort of why it was a really late last-minute announcement by her CPL team. But also, I think we need to give a massive shout out as well to Saskia Hawley for how she's captained Middlesex this season, and the runs and the wickets that she has contributed to that side. And I think 83 when her team were at a crisis in that Middlesex, I guess setting the total with the crumble at the top, and then she just come in and paced herself and has done what she's done all season and scored consistently, and being a great leader from the front.
Sorry, I was having a battle with my cables there in the background. I completely I completely agree. I mean, Saskia has been absolutely phenomenal this season, and the fact that she's led from the front with both bat and ball can't be understated, and can't be overstated enough. It can't be said enough. My vocabulary is not with it today, but she has been absolutely phenomenal. And it means, as we've said, we've got a Glamorgan versus Yorkshire final at New Road on Sunday, the 14th of September. I'm really looking forward to watching it rain. But apart from that, do you have any thoughts, Chloe?
Do you know what? Just thinking out loud, it's going to be interesting because usually there'd be a bowl out if they can't play the match, or there's going to be something. But unless you know any different, but obviously at New Road, there's no indoor facility to have a bowl out, or what would it be, a flip of a coin, or because realistically, neither of these teams finished top of the table in the group stages. So, and also if they're going to have a reserve day, that's going to be quite stressful to come back on a Monday, on a weekday, on a work day. I don't really know what the ECB's plans are for that, but hopefully they have prepared for this finals day better than the T20 finals day for Tier 2.
I read the regulations at the beginning of the season because I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty sure that there is not a reserve day for any of the Tier 2 finals. It's a bit of an odd decision from the ECB to pick a venue in September that doesn't have an indoor school, but I'm not going to say anything else on that. I think everyone can imagine what I'm thinking. But I'm pretty sure there's now an option to have a super over. This is a new thing. So there's 3 options to get a result in a final in ECB women's games. A super over for each team, a bowl out, flip of a coin, but the 2 captains have to agree on which of those they do, I think, from what I remember. But I would love to see a super over in a 50 over final to decide the winners. I think that'd be quite an eventful way to end the Tier 2 season.
I think it's just going to be a bit of a sad way to end the Tier 2 season, really. And I guess there's no way that I'd want to be deciding who wins the 50 over comp on a flip of a coin. I'd certainly, if I was a player, want to be contributing or playing some cricket. So I guess I hope that the ECB has come up with some sort of contingency and a plan. I hope they hear us on this, because Tier 2 cricket needs to be, I guess, looked after, supported well, especially when you've got 2 teams here that are going into Tier 1 later down the line. Just as we look at the end of the season, we're going to briefly touch on a little bit of Tier 3. And we're going to have a look at the Metro Bank One Day Cup Women's League 3 Division 1. Now, I know there is 2 divisions, but they've got a Division 2 North and a Division 2 South. But we're just going to look at the League 3 Division 1. So there's 8 teams in this group. Sitting at the top is Devon. In second place, Berkshire. In third place, Staffordshire. In fourth place, Buckinghamshire. Fifth place, Cheshire. Sixth place, Wiltshire. Seventh, Cambridgeshire. And sitting at the bottom is Hertfordshire. Now, the top four, so Devon, Berkshire, Staffordshire, and Buckinghamshire, could all potentially still in contention of qualifying for the finals day for the Division 1 in Tier 3. And I believe it's whoever finishes first and second. So Devon are sat on 25 points, Berkshire on 20, and then Staffs and Buckinghamshire both on 19 points. And yeah, that's obviously they've got one more weekend of group stage fixtures, which are this coming weekend on the 14th, and then their finals day is on the 21st.
All of the shares in Tier 3, my word. My word.
Literally loads. And then, yeah, God, in the Division 2, North and South, you've obviously got then like Oxfordshire, Suffolk, Norfolk, Lincolnshire. I can't think of all the rest. Shropshire. There's loads.
I mean, the ECB heard us with our struggles on just doing the table for Tier 1 each week, and they were like, have all of the shares in one group. Good luck.
Literally. But yeah, I guess obviously that's exciting for Tier 3 to have finals day, but I guess how late in September is that, and will any cricket be played on the 21st of September? We shall see. But shall we move on to Tier 1 and what we have coming up this week, and then we'll also touch on the 3 group round stages that have already happened between our last podcast of Daggers to this one, which is absolutely crazy.
Can I just say to the listeners, Chloe messaged me this the other day, and I thought she was lying to me when she said that there'd been 3 rounds, and I was like, you what? How? Anyway, there have been 3 more rounds in Tier 1. So we are not going to go game by game because you would hate us more than anything if we did. We're just going to have a look at the table and how things stand with one group stage game to go. We have 3 qualifiers already. There's just one spot still up for grabs. Hampshire top the table on 43 points, followed by the Blaze on 40 and Lancashire on 39. The Blaze and Lancashire are currently competing. Oh, I guess all 3 teams. Top 3 are still competing to confirm a home semi-final. But for listeners who aren't aware, if Lancashire do confirm a home semi-final, they will not be playing it at Old Trafford. They will be playing it at Blackpool because Old Trafford is being used for a men's county championship game. Surrey are in 4th, and they are in a bit of a precarious position. They're on 29 points, and Durham follow them in 5th on 26. Those 2 teams are playing each other in the final group stage game, so plenty of room for drama. And Somerset are still in it too. Sorry, Somerset. Somerset are also on 26 points. They're playing Warwickshire at home, so it could be a little bit of a spicy end to the group stages. In 7th are Warwickshire on 13, and in 8th are Essex on 12. A bit of a jump. Chloe, would you like to take us through the next round of fixtures?
Yes, let's go. So the next round of fixtures, or the last group stage fixtures, I say, are on Saturday the 13th of September. We have Durham against Surrey at Chester Street, Essex versus the Blaze at Chelmsford, Hampshire v Lancashire at Arundel Castle, Somerset against Warwickshire at Taunton. And I guess if Durham beat Surrey and Somerset beat Warwickshire, it all goes down to net run rate, unless one of the teams could steal a bonus point. Now, I will highlight one game today that happened was Surrey against Essex, and Surrey must be so gutted because they were 100% on for a win. After their 50 overs or reduced, they were 312, I think, for like 4 or 5, and I think it got reduced to 45 overs a side. And I think they were in such a strong position to walk away with a win that match. But yeah, the heavens opened and Essex never even started the chase. So yeah, they were probably, I guess, a little bit frustrated that they couldn't get the win there, and probably then they'll sit comfortably in 4th place. But how exciting that it all goes down to the last group stage round of fixtures.
Welcome to England in September, where it rains and it rains and it rains and it pours. Not particularly great for cricket, it has to be said. One of the general topics I think we should talk about in regards to Tier 1 is one we discussed with Daggers last week, and that is the England player availability. And to put it in short for anyone listening, there's not really any available who are in the World Cup squad. I feel like I should say the centrally contracted players who are not in the World Cup squad are all available, I believe. Chloe's nodding in agreement. That's a good sign. Alice Capsey is the only player who's been available for all of Surrey's games since the 100. And I just feel like these players cannot go from playing in the 100 to playing in a World Cup. We saw what happened when England men went from playing in the 100 to playing in a one-day international. We saw what happened in the tiered stuff, the first game after the 100. It's not what we need. We don't need to be bowled out for 200 against South Africa in the opening game. It's just a bit of a concern.
Yeah, I think another thing to highlight is if we look at it now from today's group fixtures, Alice Capsey wasn't in the Surrey squad or wasn't in the team. So if we look at it, no one actually from that World Cup squad has played every single, well, 3 round group, cut that bit out, 3 group round fixtures ahead of, I guess, this World Cup. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know whether they're in a training camp or what, but you get your best experience and you train and you learn the most out in the middle. And I've been a massive advocate for that throughout my cricketing career, that I want to be out there in the middle trying to play as many games as I can. And if I'm not playing in a regional side, or in a county side, I would go and play club cricket. I would go play women's club cricket, or go for men's club cricket or something. Like, being out in the middle and physically playing the game does so much more for you than looking good and feeling good in the nets. In the winter, I feel amazing in the nets against bowling machine or against bowlers. But come the actual scenario, you're under different situations, so many pressure. And I think, yeah, players need to just start to learn to feel a bit more comfortable in uncomfortable situations out in the middle.
And I understand it slightly with managing the workload of pace bowlers that I'm not going to complain about. Emma Arlott, Lauren Bell have both played a lot of cricket. Lauren Filer less so this summer, but she's been managing an injury. So you can understand it from that point of view, but I agree that these players need to be playing cricket. And Daggers was very much in agreement with us. He went on about the fact that he doesn't understand how fitness testing is more beneficial to these players at this point than actually being on a cricket pitch. But hey, we'll see if any of them are available for the round of fixtures next week. My hopes aren't particularly high.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who is available for that last group stage of fixtures. And then obviously, if, well, the teams that get to the semi-finals, who's going to be available for those? Are we going to see the best playing 11 in those county squads that include international players as well, or is it going to be your best county domestic players? Shall we move on to my favourite part of the week, which has been an absolute struggle this week in Tier 1, because there's been 3 group round fixtures that we have missed, and trying to pick a Tier 1 team of the week, I think is going to be absolute carnage, and I don't think we're going to have a similar side this week. I hope not anyway.
It was the fact you messaged me with genuine concern about the fact there's been 3 rounds of fixtures, and you were like, "How are we doing this?" And I was like, "We're doing it. We're committing. Come on now." I think you should kick things off, Chloe. It is your favourite segment, after all.
Okay, I'm going to just go in with the names I picked. I can't list off all their stats because with 3 group round fixtures, there is too many performances. So, opening the batting for me, I've gone for Maya Boucher from Hampshire. Coming in as her opening partner, I've gone the Island International at Lancashire of Gabby Lewis. Coming in at 3, and she's had a fantastic back-to-back rounds for Warwickshire, is Amu Sarankumar. And then coming in at 4 today for her fantastic 141, Emma Jones from Surrey. Yeah, so proud of her because I know she's been on the bench and hasn't been playing. Coming at 5 as well for another century today is ADR from Surrey. And then my wicketkeeper, I've gone for a wicketkeeper who hasn't been keeping, but I know she can keep. And my wicketkeeper is Saren Smell from Lancashire, coming in at 6th. Coming in at 7 is Catherine Bryce from the Blaze. She's probably coming in lower than what I want to, but she's playing that all-rounder role for me. And so is my player coming at number 8 is Maddie Villiers from Durham. She is playing an all-rounder role there as well. Coming in at 9 as well is Charlie Dean from Somerset. And then 10, Cassidy McCarthy from the Blaze. Coming in at 11 is my captain, and that is Georgia Davis from Warwickshire. And then I've got 3 players on the bench. So I'm just basically naming a matchday squad. But my 12ers for this Tier 1 team of the week is Ellie Anderson from Somerset, Sarah Bryce from the Blaze, and Holly Armitage from Durham. And that is my Tier 1 team of the week. And there are so many shout outs of so many players who have scored 50s and above who would make my Tier 1 side, no doubt, week in, week out. But I've got to look at a balance of a side from a player and coach perspective, but also who's consistently been performing in every game as well. So yeah, that's my Tier 1 team of the week.
Nothing I disagree with, to be fair. And Saren Smell was a really good choice. Can I just say my batting order is so lost. Like that it doesn't even have a concept of batting order anymore. I was reaching the point with this team of the week where I was going insane because of how much was happening. So this is going to be interesting. You're going to enjoy the batting order. Let's do this. Opening the batting, Maya Boucher from Hampshire. Had to be, didn't it? Opening with her, Catherine Bryce of the Blaze. She can open. She can open. Wickets and runs. Coming in at 3, obviously Emma Jones. It had to be Emma Jones. I mean, 141 runs is ridiculous in any game or scenario. At 4, her batting partner, Alice Davidson-Richards, also of Surrey. I think ADR might have been more excited when Emma hit her century than Emma was herself. If you haven't seen that clip, please do go and find it on the Metro Bank Instagram. At 5, I've got Amusa Nkrumah of Warwickshire. At 6, my keeper, Rihanna Southby of Hampshire. Cheeky half century from her. At 7, I don't know why she's at 7, but we're sticking with it. And also my captain, Georgia Davis of Warwickshire. At 8, Amanda Jade Wellington of Somerset, some handy runs and wickets. At 9, Alexa Stonehouse of Surrey. At 10, Esme McGregor of Essex. At 11, had to be Cassidy McCarthy of the Blaze. She's having quite the season. And I've also got 3 12ers. I've got Gabby Lewis, Kate Cross, and Maddie Villiers. And that is my Tier 1 squad of the week.
I mean, they're not bad squads, are they, from both of us? But yeah, I think there were so many shout-out performances this week and so many players, I guess, that scored above 50. And I guess I'm just highlighting, don't come at me for Emma Lamb not being in my team of the week this week. Anyone on social media okay?
We're totally not aiming at anyone specific.
But I mean, yeah, I guess Sarah, I think that, yeah, Sarah Smell I've gone for as my keeper for her 67 and 47. And I think with just how many games have been abandoned, it didn't justify me putting in players who have only scored 150s or things like that. But yeah, I mean, what a tough Tier 1 or squad of the week that was. But yeah, no, pretty happy with that. And yeah, pretty chuffed with yours as well.
Shall we have a look at the world of women's cricket a little bit, Chloe? Because there's been quite a lot going on globally. I mean, first of all, and we have to talk about it because I love her and it's genuinely iconic of her. Laura Harris is out playing in the Women's CPL or Caribbean Premier League, which is a bit of an odd tournament because there's only 3 teams. But anyway, we won't go into that. She bowled. Don't know what she was bowling. I don't think she does either. Some sort of slow bowling for the first time in a professional game or like an elite level game. She didn't take 1 wicket, not even 2. She took 3, and she got the wicket of Deandra Dottin. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's genuinely and fundamentally ridiculous.
I mean, it's the Harris sisters world we're living in. They are just some seriously talented cricketers and some unique cricketers as well. And for her to be known to all of us as that destructive batter, to be contributing in the CPL with the ball and taking a threefer, yeah, I just love the confidence that she's got to be able to do that in the first place. And basically, it's Laura House's world that we're living in.
I think it might be my favourite moment of the season, and I'm not even sorry about that. And it's not even our season. Taking a look as well at the World Cup, which is starting in a month. No, it will have started in a month, just before I say my next statement. Starting in a month. Yet the tickets have just gone on pre-sale for a tournament that is starting in a month. For context, everyone, we're hosting the T20 World Cup next May and June, or it might be June. I think it's just June. The tickets went on sale a year in advance. What are they playing at? What are the BCCI playing at? You can't have that little notice for such a major tournament.
I guess, let's be honest, it's the BCCI, and they obviously have a say and a powerful say in cricket, as we've seen. I guess especially this season with them or buyers buying the 100. But yeah, I guess obviously they're just expecting that cricket's massive for them in India, and they're obviously can fill stadiums with a click of a finger. So I guess let's hope that we see the stadiums fill up, and let's hope that we see ticket sales that are high. But yeah, I guess just a little bit baffling of how they've gone about the pre-sale of the Women's World Cup, considering the men go to Australia this winter and the tickets are already sold out. And that obviously happens after the World Cup. So I guess, I don't know, it's just classic women's cricket and what we see really. And it's, yeah, just always happens, doesn't it?
Can I just say that was an excellent accidental segue from you talking about Australia? The reigning champions of the World Cup have announced their squad, and it's safe to say, Chloe, it's strong.
Yeah, it's pretty strong, isn't it? I mean, when I saw how they announced it and that, yeah, just squad, I think I don't want to say it, and I think I said this on a different podcast the other day. That realistically, they're favourites, aren't they? And with that squad, they should be winning another trophy. It's a bloody good squad. That's all I can say.
They don't only play the best cricket, they do the best squad announcements too. I mean, everyone else needs to up their game. If you have not seen the announcement video, please go and watch it. It's iconic.
I also want to give a little shout out. I don't know if you've seen it today, but New Zealand's squad announcement. It's previous World Cup winners announcing the players, and it's really sentimental and yeah, got a touch. So yeah, definitely, I think go and watch that as well. And then sort of, I think Australia and New Zealand have just done it exceptionally well. And one day, the England squad announcement might have a little bit of personal touch to it. We'll see.
I mean, you'd like to think it will be quite a good one next year, given we're hosting it. Kind of build the momentum. Well, fingers crossed. But we'll see what happens this winter. I'd like to see India win it, in all honesty. That might be controversial, it might not. Home World Cup, they're a team that should have won a trophy. But I agree that it's probably a little bit inevitable that Australia do.
Yeah, I think for me, if I have to say right here, right now, I think that final is going to be Australia versus India. I do think England will be in the top four, but I think that final will be Australia v India. And I'm being hopeful of England being in that top four for anyone that's coming at me. But obviously, yeah, I think that final, if it is them two teams, it is going to be major and it's going to be mega. and hopefully it's going to be an exciting performance of the women's game on the centre stage.
I completely agree with you. And on our last note of the podcast and our last note of the World Cup, but also not about the World Cup, in my opinion, Dane van Niekerk made a shock return from international retirement. She joined the extended South Africa cricket training squad in preparation of the World Cup. She's just been announced in the CPL, so is playing over there. But she wasn't selected in that World Cup. But despite headlines, I don't think that's particularly surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly interesting that she sort of came out of retirement and she's gone down this route of wanting to get back into that international side. And don't get me wrong, she probably was potentially forced to retire at the stage of when she did. And by no means least, she's a good cricketer and she should still be in that international side with all the experience she's got. Yeah, I mean, for her to, I guess, now be in the extended of the training squad, it'll be exciting to see or to hear just how she does. And I guess who knows, will we actually see her then fully transition back into the South African side?
I mean, when this return was announced, Dane actually issued an apology on social media in a statement. And I think from what you've just said, you'll probably agree with me on this. I don't think she has anything to apologise for. I understand that things got a little bit frosty with the South African Cricket Board, but that was off of their back, in my opinion, at the time. I don't. It feels like. Do you get me? I don't know where I'm going, but do you get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people will as well sort of understand that point. And yeah, she should still be in that international squad and offering that experience. And I think obviously they went through that big phase of where they had so many experienced players step out of that South African squad. So for her to be a part of it and be back into it, I think will help South African cricket in the long run as well.
On that note, I think that is all for this week's podcast. Thank you all very much for joining us. And the next time you hear from us, we will have our Tier 2 champions, one way or another. But that is all for now.
And also, we will have our Tier 1 semi-finalists confirmed.
Yes, we will. We'll know if there was any drama in that last round of group stage matches or if it just rained. Either way, we'll be able to fill you in.
And if I want to add in a bonus, we might even know who are the two Tier 3 teams competing for that Division 1, I guess, trophy or overall winners. So, yeah, lots of finals again, lots of semi-finals. Yeah, we'll look forward to speaking about it next week on the pod.
And on that note, that is all.
Thanks for listening to this week's Two Tiers Deep. If you'd like to find me, Chloe Hill, you can find myself on Instagram with a new Instagram page covering this podcast at Two Tiers Deep CH. Or I'll pass you over Rosa to find herself at
Rosa Talks Ball. Or if you have any questions, you can contact us on rosatalksball@gmail.com. And please don't hesitate to get in touch.